Most people think their reactions are automatic. That life happens to them and they just respond. But that's not true. The truth is the same situation can create stress or strength, fear or confidence, irritation or joy. The difference is not what's happening on the outside. The difference is how you're wired on the inside. Every day, without realizing it, you're being conditioned by your environment, by people, by memories, by emotions. And unless you take control of that conditioning, you live at the mercy of it. What you're about to hear is about reclaiming that control, about training your mind and nervous system so you show up powerful, playful, and certain no matter what's happening around you. When you were a kid, a train would come by and you'd run toward it. You'd feel the ground shake, count the cars, feel excited, alive, playful. Same train today, you're on the way to work and it shows up and you think, not this again. The train didn't change. You did. Say, what if every time that train showed up, you chose to stay playful? What if instead of irritation, you trained yourself to smile? Eventually, the very sound that once annoyed you would trigger joy. That's not luck, that's conditioning, that's power. Every one of us has something in our environment, a person, a situation that triggers us. The mistake people make is trying to change the environment. The real power comes when you change what the trigger does to you. One of the most powerful tools to do that is priming. I don't wake up hoping I'll be at my best. I prime myself every single day, especially on the days I'm tired, hurting, overwhelmed. Those days it matters even more. Priming is a psychological principle. It's been around forever. Advertisers use it. Marketers use it. But most people never use it on themselves. You think your thoughts are your own. Sometimes they are, but most of the time they're shaped by what's happening around you. Music, tone, energy, environment. If you don't prime yourself, you live at the mercy of whatever or whoever primes you next. There was a study that blew my mind years ago. 2 actors, a man and a woman, gave the exact same interaction to hundreds of people. Same words, same tone, same facial expression. The only difference, half the people held a hot coffee for a few seconds. The other half held iced coffee. 20 minutes later, those same people read an identical story and describe the main character. Over 80% of the people who held the hot coffee described the character as warm and genuine. Over 80% of the people who held the iced coffee described the character as cold and calculating. Same story, same person. Different prime, that's how powerful this is. Restaurants use music to get you to eat faster and leave when it's busy. Wine stores play certain music to influence what you buy. This is happening all around you, all the time, unconsciously. So the real question is simple, leaders, are you being primed or are you doing the priming? Because priming is happening whether you like it or not. It's like training. You're training your brain, your emotions, your nervous system every day. You're training people by how you treat them. You're being trained by what you tolerate. When you take control and consciously prime yourself, your focus, your energy, your state, it changes everything. Your reactions change. Your emotions change. Your life changes. Same train, different experience. The power isn't out there. It's in how you condition yourself to respond. My son Josh couldn't even walk to the edge of the driveway to get on the school bus. He was terrified. Then one day he came home completely different. His posture, his energy, his face, everything had changed. He was playful, alive. And then I met the reason. He'd made a friend who lived 2 doors down. They're still best friends decades later. And this kid, he wasn't funny at all, but he thought he was hilarious. He laughed so hard at his own jokes that you couldn't help laughing too. Ever been around someone like that? They crack themselves up and suddenly you're laughing even though nothing was funny. That was this kid. He made me laugh. Josh was laughing nonstop. After he left, I said, "Josh, you really like this kid?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Make him your friend for life." He asked, "Why, Dad?" I said, "Because he's wired himself to find joy and humor in almost anything. And if you spend enough time with him, you'll develop the same pattern. He'll prime you to live in a playful state." That's how it works. Your closest friends prime you, and you prime them. I remember another moment with my daughter. She was around 16 and in love with a college football player. One night he showed up 45 minutes late. She was furious. She tore into him verbally. I could hear it from rooms away. I didn't say anything at first. A few days later it happened again. And I said, "Let me ask you something." Instead of saying, "I missed you, I love you, I know practice must have gone long," you attacked him. What you're teaching him is that you equal pain. You're training him. You're priming him. I told her when he sees you, he should feel love, appreciation, gratitude, not punishment. The fact that he's late doesn't mean he's trying to hurt you. We have tremendous power to influence each other. And whatever you do consistently, you are priming people. But the place it all begins is with priming yourself. Because when you prime yourself, the thing that used to irritate you, the person, the situation, can actually make you feel strong. If you lose confidence when you speak, you can prime yourself so that speaking makes you feel powerful. You can prime yourself for anything. You don't have to wait, hope, or react based on old conditioning. You keep priming until it becomes so wired that it's your natural state. That gear is available to you anytime you want. Most people today live in uncertainty, and uncertainty leads to fear, and prolonged fear leads to sadness, overwhelm, even depression. But when you see a great athlete, a great leader, a great parent, they have a certainty inside them, and that certainty does not come from the outside world. It comes from within. I don't want you to just understand this. I want you to leave with it in your nervous system. When you prime yourself this way, do you think it changes how you interact with life? Of course it does. You handle problems differently. You show up differently. This is something you want to do daily, minimum 10 days, ideally 21, maybe 5 days a week, maybe 7. It takes 10 minutes. Make it the first thing you do in the morning. It doesn't mean you won't have challenges. It means you'll have more of you ready to meet them. Start your day in a beautiful state. At first, you might do it morning and evening. Over time, it becomes wired. You can access it instantly. And if something intense comes up, you take 10 minutes, prime yourself, and then handle the situation from a completely different place. We can't control the outside world, but we have absolute control over the inside world, and that's where real power lies. At the end of the day, life is not happening as to you, it's responding as to you. You may not be able to control the world outside, but you always have control over the state you bring into it. When you prime yourself daily, you stop reacting from fear and old conditioning and start responding from strength, certainty, and joy. Over time, that state becomes who you are. Challenges don't disappear, but you face them with more of you present. And that's the real power, training yourself so no matter what happens, you show up as your best.